Silent Hill 1 remake officially in development at Bloober Team, Konami has announced. Konami had a big announcement ready for its Konami Press Start live showcase, a Silent Hill 1 remake. The Silent Hill remake is officially in development at Bloober Team, the developer that handled the well-received Silent Hill 2 remake. There's not much to go on, unfortunately, but we did get a brief tease during the showcase that included the Silent Hill logo and its iconic music. No release date was mentioned. For more, check out everything. So it's just out there now.
We kind of like hinted at this last week when we talked about Konami's doing their own showcase. You know, the big boys are done, but we're still getting updates for the Summer Game Fest season and so forth like this. And this is the big update from that. We also got, you know, in terms of Konami, we got updates to Metal Gear Solid Delta Snake Eater. A little bit more information about what their online mode is that they hinted at. Really not so much like an online ecosystem, but more pretty much just a mode.
Yeah.
Which is exactly what it needs. I don't need constant updates to Metal Gear Delta, Snake Eater, and so forth like this. But this is the big one. The one that, like we said, hey, of the big three things that they got going on, what is this mystery one that they got? Mm-hmm. And this is what it is. Silent Hill remake from Bloober Team, makers of the Silent Hill 2 remake.
I wonder how long this was in development. Did they wait until 2 came out to say, we're going to greenlight this project, or were they already working on it, but it didn't get into full swing until they saw how good Silent Hill 2 did? I think the latter, because they announced it pretty close than you would expect them to do, just coming off the back of Silent Hill 2 remake, and also having the other Silent Hill F coming out this year. So
yeah.
I wonder how. I think it's been in development for at least a little bit.
Maybe.
See, it's the baselines for what you do when you create a game.
My question is Bloober Team's coming with a game next year, Chronos, which looks fantastic. I'm excited for Chronos. But how big is this team now?
Well, it seems like it's Konami's flagship team. So if
it's not their team though,
but it's being made by Konami. So I wouldn't think money would be a big issue, especially when Konami is trying to make a comeback. They've been gone for a good couple of years.
I think this is, well, they do say in development, which does mean something. So I don't know. It could have been in pre-development for a little bit, but I think it's going to be a few years until we see this.
Oh, I think a couple, like 2, maybe 3.
I would lean more on that 3 than that 2. Probably maybe even closer to 4. But we'll see. We'll have to wait and see and find out with all of that. But Connor, does the Silent Hill 1 remake excite you?
Very much so.
Yeah.
So before this comes out, I'm gonna play the first one.
Look at you doing your due diligence.
Oh, I am. I really want to, especially because the Silent Hill game I want to play the most next is Silent Hill 3. You need to play the first one. It's a direct sequel.
Oh,
funny enough, and that's basically where a lot of my knowledge of Silent Hill 1 goes out the window. I have a friend, the one who made me or recommended I play Silent Hill 2, which turned out to be a very good thing, had played it after Silent Hill 2. Described it as clunky, kind of the same things about the old Silent Hills. But again, he says even this old-ass game was still able to be scary and have moments where the camera would shift and it would immediately turn into like a different-looking area. Because they would have like the static camera movement. So it would just it would, of course, play around with that, create some scary moments, creepy moments. It has like industrial-like music, which I'll have to look at what exactly that means, because I usually think like loud, a lot of crashing noises that kind of, are meant to kind of confuse you and unsettle you. But, again, my knowledge with Silent Hill 1 is very limited. But because it's such an important game in video game history, and you recently did a video talking about how remakes are great at allowing people to go back to the other old games and play them again. And with something like Silent Hill, you don't really have a lot of modern ways to play it. I had to emulate Silent Hill 2. I'm probably going to have to emulate Silent Hill 1. Sorry, guys, you don't make PS1s anymore. So at the end of the day, this is a good way to start getting the ball rolling on Silent Hill, as it's clearly already started with Silent Hill 2 Remake and all of those other side projects they've been doing, as bad as they
And you and I are both hopeful for Silent Hill F.
Yeah. Because Silent Hill 2 was... It instilled a lot of confidence in us, and it probably instilled a lot of confidence in Bloober Team on behalf of Konami.
Oh, I would hope so.
Yeah.
Yeah. My thing with Bloober Team is it really just depends on how well Chronos comes out. Because if Chronos is another medium, I think that's a step backwards.
Yes.
But if Chronos becomes its own thing, and this is a great modern example of survival horror with an action focus, then great. Bloober Team are killers at this genre.
And you mentioned the medium and layers of fear. these are like the only two standalone games they've made that have been mixed received. Layers of Fear I know you've said otherwise before. I see it made fun of. Not in a bad way. Like in a way where the game's still enjoyable, but not in a way where it's super scary, where it's effective at what it was trying to do.
No, yeah, that's not the impression I got from reactions of like my impression was, oh, this is a good indie horror game.
Okay,
you know,
it
like
could be. You know,
like this is in that Amnesia level, like for the time, you know, because this was probably 10 years ago, close to of when Layers of Fear came out. I want to say 2015 sounds about right.
Yeah.
For that. So and then Medium in 18, 19, 18,
2017.
17. Really? Wow. Okay.
No,
No.
I was looking at the Observer, the Mediums, 2021.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. All right. That makes more sense. COVID makes timelines really tricky. In the before and after years.
I will say just to
I mean, but go ahead.
250 employees work at Bloober Team. So, how
In the
does that-
development,
just in general, and since
Big team.
2024. That was
big team,
It's a big team, yeah.
big team. So maybe they've got some dual team development stuff going on right now, or because Chronos looks polished, looks close to done. You know, the 26 window. No, not even. Is that set for this year?
I think it might be set for this year.
I think
yeah.
it is set for the. I think they said something about that.
And I have a feeling it's going to be a bit of a shorter game. It's not going to be a long 17-hour long experience. I'm expecting like 13, 12. So
we'll
given
see.
that-
Yeah, I mean, survival horror, you can only keep people engaged for so long.
Yes.
So like I never really want a 20-hour survival horror game at all. Silent Hill 2 did feel, a little too long in the tooth for me, personally. But it felt a little more necessary for the size of the game. You had to add on new content or not add on new content. Well, I mean, that's exactly what they did. They just fleshed some areas out.
Yeah.
You have to do that for a remake, you would assume. Resident Evil 2 remake, for example, fleshed some areas out and made some other areas much shorter. So it's a balance of what our people are expecting in these games.
By the way, I thought Chronos was definitively coming out in 2025. It has a Q3, Q4 release date, but that's very.
That's what I was gonna say. I
subject to
thought they
change.
said like fall 24 or excuse me, fall 25 is what I thought they said on their SGF trailer.
Even so, I feel like there's some good room for it to not come out the way they say it is.
Yeah, it would be so tricky to put out a game right now because there's just so much happening in this last half of the year and the first half of next year. There's this little game called Grand Theft Auto 6 coming out that you just do not want to be anywhere near. So yeah, it's a tricky thing. So yeah, but all of that to say, Bloober Team has been on I think a steady rise. Maybe not so much in quality because I feel like Layers of Fear was better received than the Medium. But they went from a small studio to this is our first AAA game. So it's okay if you stumble a little bit along the way. Given another chance with Silent Hill 2, and that game is one of the greats. I think there's clearly some survival horror games that go above it.
Mainly because of gameplay reasons.
I would say so, yeah.
Definitely, if you're solely looking at, if you're playing a horror game, what are the scariest horror games? It's
That one's up
like,
there.
Probably top 3, I would say. Just because
In terms of how scary they can get?
Yeah. And it's not even just like outright fear, but it's also all the other emotions you feel just going through a level. The ickiness, the
ickiness for sure.
Yeah.
The ickiness for sure. Because I described Silent Hill 2 as never reaching the peaks of some of the other, Dead Space and Resident Evil and even like Alien Isolation. Never reaching the peaks of scariness of that, but always having a consistent I'm uncomfortable. Like at all times.
Very hard to do.
That's a very hard thing to do because people get used to your world. People get
Yeah.
acclimated. So for them to do that over a 15+ hour video game consistently is impressive.
Yeah.
That speaks to sound design. That speaks to lighting. That speaks to character design. That speaks to world, all of those things. So clearly we're on the up and up. Gameplay was rough in Silent Hill 2, but it's also not trying to be a combat focused game. That's why I'm looking at Chronos and going, well, clearly that's supposed to be more combat focused. Clearly you're leaning more into the Dead Space realm of survival horror as opposed to the Silent Hill or even, the Resident Evil style of survival horror where it's a little clunkier, the gameplay's not the main focus, it's everything else around it. So yeah, I'm fascinated. Also, what's exciting about this, there's not as much love for the first Silent Hill as there is for 2.
There's not.
Which means they can do a little bit, they can have a little bit more freedom in how they recreate the world. Now, I'm sure it'll still be faithful, but some things can move around. Some things can change. Things can get shorter. Things can get longer. You know, what was good, we can lean into. What was not so good, we can lean away from.
Yeah.
You know, so.
I'm on the train for Silent Hill stuff. You know, whatever that might be.
Yeah.
Silent Hill 1 remake. I just hope they do good.
I of course always hope they do good. I'm always excited for a remake. Always excited for a remaster. Put old things on new things so that we can have new fans. You know.